As Godzilla Minus One's historic theater run comes to an end, I wanted to take some time and do a quick review for the Minus Color version, which ended its short run last night, February 1st, bringing to an end, this record-breaking theatrical release that nobody really saw coming. So, how does Minus Color stack up? They do not feel like the same movie. There are two totally different feels to these movies. This Minus Color version is a fantastic version. Even though it's the same movie, there's a different mood that you're given watching this. And it was very evident throughout the first act of the movie that it felt more in line with the original Godzilla. The dark shadows. It's a very serious and somber feel that you get out of this. And I think that is something that black and white lends to a film. It gives it a very dark and serious feel. And on that note, it brings together a parallel, which I see between, Dr. Serizawa's moral conflict within the original Godzilla of whether or not to use the oxygen destroyer and unleash this massively powerful weapon upon the world, and Shikishima's regret over how he lived his life during the war and the fact that he was a failed kamikaze pilot. Another thing that this really drives home is this is a first time for the franchise. We've gotten films in black and white. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people's one of your first Godzilla movies at some point was the original, which was always in black and white, just depending on which version you saw. This was a rare occasion where the movie was in color first, and then there was a black and white version released later. And it was something that I had never considered, but then upon seeing it last night, personally, I feel like this was a slightly better version than the original colored version, which we saw in theaters back in December. And it's just those subtle little changes. Hearing the theme play over the end scene in black and white this time, it definitely gave you more of I guess you could say a nostalgia to the original film. But it also really brought that triumphant feel back to the movie. And I think that that's something that, while it was there with the color version, it was also, in a way, kind of lost comparatively to the original 1954 film. I do have to say, though, the film is no less fantastic. In fact, my thoughts on it have changed slightly in the fact that I think it's even better than I saw the first time. And this is definitely a film which I believe will be talked about for a very long time going forward. Now, where does this leave us post-theatrical run? Obviously, everybody knows the film was nominated for Best Visual Effects for an Oscar, and deservedly so. With how low of a budget this movie was made on, it's astounding what they were able to do, considering that most Hollywood productions anymore get at least $200 to $300 million in an average range to make their movie, and they accomplished this with less. One thing I would love to see, and it's kind of going back to how when Godzilla was released, anytime we got it, with the exception of Classic Media's original DVD and Blu-ray of Godzilla King of the Monsters and Gojira respectively, we got the Japanese and English. I hope that we get the colored and minus color versions as well. So let me know down in the comments what you guys thought of the video, what you thought of the movie, if you saw it in theaters, and be sure to like the Facebook page, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys for the next review.